demonstration of the Deterrence modeling system based on the underlying work by Kugler and Kang. Um, Here on the first tab, you see the formal modeling simulation where we could select the power ratio, nuclear parity, level of dissatisfaction, conventional vulnerability, and then model exponents such as power, parity, exponent, dissatisfaction, and the scaling factor, including escalation parameters such as shock probability, max escalation scaling, and tipping threshold. We could also just apply presets. In this example, it's a custom, but we could do status quo, high tension, etc. So on the preset, we just set this, apply the preset, and then you'll see it'll run the sensitivity analysis on a 2D a chart with parameter values and conflict probability, 3D visualization, looking at the surface plot on what it would look like, and you could toggle this, and then a validation on power ratio, nuclear parity, dissatisfaction, conflict vulnerability, and whether it's expected to increase or decrease, and whether it's observed or passed, and then shows the model equations. We could then run Monte Carlo by setting the number of runs, the shock probability, the variance, distribution type. I just put normal, uniform, log normal. So we could put log normal in this example, set the seed for generating the data, and then the baseline parameters for power ratio, nuclear parity, dissatisfaction, and conventional vulnerability. We could even set scenario filters. And you could see it once I hit run simulation, it runs it to the right-hand side. And then it generates density plots on what the probabilities are in terms of the scenarios that we're setting, the cumulative distribution, tornado charts, and then a scenario comparison on the different types of scenarios. So this is a PR range, high, and then all. We can also run time series for dynamic conflict escalation. You can see here I set the period for 365 days, the initial conditions, and then the shock schedule, PR percentage, CV percentage, etc., with economic parameters, the GDP of the attacker versus the GDP of the defender, trade interdependence from a scale of 0 to 1. So let's say it's low, you run the time series, and then it shows what it looks like proportional to dissatisfaction, power ratio, and conflict in terms of the time phase. We could see the probability trajectories in terms of conflict escalation, um, and the parameter evolution in terms of PR proportional to time days, and then economic impact in terms of cumulative effect. We could also extend the model by looking at cyber physical effects in terms of capability ratio to cyber operations intensity, alliance deterrence in terms of uh, strength, credibility, and probability of conflict, and then some preset historical conflicts such as the Cuban Missile Crisis, Taiwan Strait Crisis, Kargil conflict, Sino-Indian border, and then Ukrainian escalation. And then last, we could look at like some economic data. You could use the various toggles here in any of these various tabs, and you could also download data based on the results that you're simulating. This concludes the demonstration. Thank you.